Hello.
We're
Welcome
back.
to Jews with the News. Yeah, so happy to be here.
I'm J- uh, I'm Jack.
I'm Eli. We have a great episode today planned for you. We have a great guest, but before we hop into any of that stuff, Jack, what's going on in the world?
A whole lot.
A
A
whole
whole
lot.
lot is going on, but I think we should probably address the fact that the president of the United States did get COVID.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't want anybody to die from COVID, so we pray for him and his wife's recovery, speedy recovery. Hopefully, it won't last that long because this virus really does suck.
Right. It's also like so odd if you think about it, just because like for me, I feel like when this happened to Boris Johnson in the UK, he was in a much worse condition, right? Like he was in the hospital incapacitated for like a couple of days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like I feel like we didn't really care, but like all of a
Yeah,
sudden
because
the
we're
president get
America and we don't care about foreign
I know
politics.
it's just like kind of this weird dynamic. But yeah, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah. I'm just interested to see how this affects like any of the campaign or anything like that. Just like
Right.
depending on how long he's out, how much he misses. I mean, well,
Right. Well, he's already
I
going
don't know. I just like the thing is, I just don't know.
He's already going to miss the second debate, which I think everyone is thankful for because no one wants to see another debate.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it will be interesting to see, like, does the fact that he is now like hurt, or like the fact that he will most likely recover from this illness, will that help him? Will that hurt? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be
If
interesting to
it
see.
doesn't like, I feel like the issue is if it like doesn't like if he gets over it super easily, like he's just going to be like, oh, the coronavirus is like a joke and it's like not important, and like that's not good
Well, my
because the
big
coronavirus is a big thing, and like
yeah,
we don't
my
want
biggest
anybody
fear
saying like it's bad.
my biggest fear is because they're giving him some experimental treatment.
Hmm.
So my biggest fear is when he recovers, he's gonna try and like mass produce these experimental drugs, which shouldn't
Hmm.
necessarily, because like that shouldn't be done this quickly, because like that's not how we administer drugs, or like ethically speaking. So that's like my
Right.
biggest fear right now. Yeah.
It's fair. On that note, we'd love to introduce.
Hi, I'm Ari. I also go to Ladue, and I'm Jewish. Um,
Yes,
I
love to
like,
see that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Ari, you shared something with us the other day that blew my mind. I don't know if it blew Jack's mind. But would you like to share with us what this is?
yeah. So if you haven't heard yet, Tom Cruise next October is going to be going to the ISS, like the actual space station, and he is going to be filming a movie there. So when I first saw this, I thought it was a joke. Um, Then I realized that it wasn't, and apparently SpaceX and NASA are working with him to go film the first movie in actual space.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that
it's gonna be crazy.
it's so crazy, right? Like
Yeah,
Tom Cruise is going to be making a movie in space. Like
yeah,
Talk about doing your own stunts.
it, and well, now there are just so many like questions I have. Like, like, is there anyone else that's going to go up with him? And if not, does that mean he will have to like also be the director of photography, or like the cameraman or whatever, right? And like also,
well,
what is the plots that can happen in the International Space Station? And like how what is the extent to which they're going to use practical effects? Because like if you're going to have a scene in which the door blows open, how are you going to simulate Tom Cruise like being sucked into the vacuum of space without him actually being sucked into the vacuum of space, right? Like, I don't know. There are just so many questions I have.
It's very interesting. Like the movie making can actually I'm surprised this hasn't been done. I'm gonna be honest. Like
Really?
I imagined like at one point like somebody was like, oh, let's film a scene in space. I don't think it's gonna be the whole movie that he's gonna
no,
be up there. I think it's
Yeah.
just going to be like maybe like a 5-minute clip or something
Yeah.
like that. Because I don't know what you can do, because that's an actual thing that you can't just like, again, as Eli said, blow up.
Right.
And like people need to use the space station, and it's just like I'm interested to see how much like they actually like end up filming there.
I also wonder, like, exactly how long he's gonna be up there. Like, is it gonna be they like fly him up for a day, and then they film and come back down, or is it gonna be like they let him be in space? Like,
Does this yeah does this make Tom Cruise an astronaut?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Also, okay,
That's
also like
crazy.
imagine being one of like the actual astronauts on the International Space Station at that time, like being told that like even though their job is like really important right now, that they have to like stay out of the camera shot or like just awkwardly walking by as right, like that
Well, I
would
don't
be
know.
amazing.
They get a first-hand opportunity to meet Tom Cruise, so like
Right?
it's
I
I mean, if
like
mean,
you're an
I don't know.
astronaut, I feel like that wouldn't be that cool, because like you've
I feel like
seen space.
that's true.
yeah, I still feel like it would be pretty cool.
So now that Tom Cruise is like technically an astronaut, does he have to go through all the training and like the psychological assessments and stuff that go
I'm
through with this?
I'm sure he's going through some training. I doubt that he's like learning how to pilot the ship, but
Do you think that like as a Scientologist, he will be like flunk certain parts of it, right? Like do you think that like he'll get up into space and all of a sudden he'll like see the sun and he'll be like Zorp is coming and then have like a breakdown? Like I don't know,
Yes,
like
that's exactly what I
there
think
are
is
just
gonna
so
happen.
many questions that are unanswered. Like I don't know. This is like one of the best things I've learned during quarantine.
he he's
I'm
he's confirmed not a flat earther, right?
I
Yeah,
think so.
I think so.
Okay,
Well, we'll know firsthand.
Right.
yeah,
I guess he'll be
We'll
able to
find out.
finally, yeah, we'll finally find out what he believes. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, like, I think no matter what this movie ends up being about, it will be the greatest movie of all time because I can't
yeah.
imagine the scenes in space actually being done well. Just because, like, it's never been done before, so no one knows how to do a good
I don't.
scene
Yeah,
in
it's gonna be so
space.
interesting. I want to
Yeah.
watch it now.
I think that it's gonna succeed in the box office, like regardless of how bad it is, because it's like, oh, this movie might not be entertaining, but I can go see a movie that was filmed in space, and like everyone's gonna want to go see it because you can't miss that.
Right.
What is the movie called?
I don't think we know yet.
They haven't
Hold on, let
announced
me see.
anything. I really would want it to like I would really want it to be like Tom Cruise up in space and then like on the ground as like the NASA whatever is just Jim Carrey or someone like that and it ends up being like a comedy. Like that would be amazing. Like I think that's a dream come true.
It
Uh,
says it's called Outer Space, but I don't know
wait,
if that's right.
what I found says it's gonna be called Edge of Tomorrow.
No,
That's already a Tom Cruise
that's already a
movie.
movie. That's the director has already made that movie.
Oh, okay.
2014 starring Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. That was a good
Oh,
movie.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
I
Well,
just hope
I
that
guess
nothing goes wrong, because like if something
true.
does go wrong, then it's like everyone's gonna be discouraged from doing it again.
Right.
right. That's true. Also, like we would lose Tom Cruise, which would,
Yeah,
be horrible for some
yeah,
people. Um, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting, I think, this next year, over the next year, I guess, to discuss.
I'm excited to see it play out.
Hmm.
On a completely different note, um, I think something that I watched recently that I thought was pretty good, that I think you guys have seen as well, was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I like binge watched that show in like a week or two.
yeah.
It was a solid show. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 if I'm being honest. But like there were some bad parts, but I was wondering what you guys think of like the specific elements. Like, do you think that there's one that is most useful to bend over others, or do you think they're all equal, or how do you think that plays out?
Um, I think that, I mean, I personally would like Earth, but I think that in terms of practicality, airbending like takes it, no question. Um, you can just like catch something if you drop it. You can practically fly with a glider. Um, you can run really fast. Just like all the things seem to point to airbending being like a good day-to-day use, which most of the other ones, maybe waterbending could be a good day-to-day use, but I think that airbending just takes the cake.
See, I think I have to disagree with you there. I think kind of the reversal for me. I think I'd like to be an airbender, but I think the most useful for me, in my opinion, is Earth. Like I think there's a reason why Earth is the most popular or bending type in the cinematic world of Avatar, and it's because there are just so many different uses for it. Because not only is there just simple earth bending, there's also metal bending, swamp bending, sand bend. So all these different settings. I think
Well,
it.
Swamp
isn't
bending
swamp
is
bending
Oh,
water
swamp bending
bending?
is water bending. So sorry.
Yeah.
But lava bending that or magma bending, that's an earth bending thing. Um,
Is that earth or is that fire?
no, that's
that's
earth.
Earth.
Is
Um,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just on that, I think there's so many different types of earth bendings, but also on just like a more practical standpoint, I think earth bending is just so much more useful in terms of how much you can accomplish that you couldn't otherwise accomplish without bending. Like I think in terms of air bending, you're right, you could probably get to somewhere faster or like flying is cool, but like imagine how many people it would take to like construct the Earth Kingdom Palace if you didn't have Earthbenders or like do any of that sort of stuff. So I think it just, I don't know if it's useful in terms of day to day, but I think the amount of use you get from it when you use it in your daily lives as a practicality makes it so much more useful than any other element.
So I would like to be a firebender. I think it would be sick to shoot like lightning out of my fingers, but I I think the most useful is air. I think I'm with RA with that. That the most useful is air. I think what Eli said about like being able to metal bend, sand bend, like that kind of stuff, like that's awesome. But also you have to think about it. Not many of like the benders can actually do that. Only like the most powerful ones. So if you're saying that you are the most powerful earthbender, then yes, you could like, do the metal bending and like all those like subsections of earthbending. But when it comes down to it, earthbending is just like the casual earthbending that everybody else does. And I feel like airbending is already like there's really no like subsections of airbending. Like if you airbend, you would like airbend like everybody else, and air is always around, and I feel like that's just like the most useful because like if I'm on like a whatever story building, I can't earthbend because of reasons that the show said.
Because of, well, what if the building is made of earth?
But is it?
I don't know. Well, what else would it be made of?
Not everything can be bended though.
I think that they do show that earthbenders can bend concrete though, so that would make it pretty useful.
True.
I think we can all agree though that on a day-to-day basis, firebending is the least useful.
Oh, it's the least
Oh
useful,
yeah,
but
for
it's
sure. I mean, the only thing it's good for is, defeating the Air Nation. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Sorry to break it to you, Jack.
what do you mean?
You love the
Fire
fire
Nation characters were the best characters though.
Bennett.
So like
Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
what?
Yeah, I think Sokka's the best
Disrespect.
character far and away.
False.
Sokka's a pretty great character.
Thank you.
He's top. He's
Toph
in
is
the
the
top,
best.
but
But
Zuko's better. Iroh's better.
Toph is the
Iroh,
best.
who?
Iroh is great. Iroh is great.
Iroh is number one.
Iroh's top tier.
Yeah.
Who'd you say is the best, Ari?
Uh, I mean, I was saying Toph. You can't really disagree with Iroh being up there though.
Yeah,
Um,
and Appa.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Appa's number one.
Right.
Iroh too.
Appa
Yeah.
is great.
But yeah, I think my ranking would be like earth, air, water, fire. I think I understand where you're coming from with,
As in most useful. Are you doing most useful?
yeah, I think if we're talking about
Okay.
most powerful, that's a whole other story. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think when it comes to powerful, I don't think I don't think one element is more powerful than the others. It just depends on the actual bender itself.
although like they're, the Fire Nation did like kill out almost the entirety of the Air Nation. So like
But the
I feel
element
like
of
we can say
surprise.
with
That
some.
was with the comet, though.
Yeah.
So, like we're talking about who is more powerful. If firebenders get this insane rush of power one day a year, that makes them pretty powerful, right?
One day every 100 years.
One day
Most
every
people,
100 years.
a
That's
lot of
my
people wouldn't
mistake.
even live for that.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we don't know how old people live. I guess we kind of
That is
do.
true.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if we know that one group of benders beat another group of benders, we can say with at least some confidence that that group is more powerful.
Uh, I'd
Nah.
go with that.
Okay. I don't know. What do you think then, if not that?
I mean, like, the waterbenders were very clearly able to beat the firebenders during a full moon, but then, like, during like the daytime, the firebenders started to win. Right? So like while they're beating them in this one scenario where they're the super powered ones, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the stronger bending type overall.
Right. Just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I
It does.
guess, but it seems like the situations pretty clearly favor the firebenders over the course of 100 years because they were able to conquer and retain that power. So maybe like I guess certain scenarios, but I feel like over time there was like a pretty clear. I don't know.
But
I
then
don't
they
know.
lost.
They did end up losing.
Yeah, and then they
Okay, yeah, but
lost.
that was because like the Avatar came back and was like he was alive, which is
Well,
crazy
but
to me.
like Toph, Sokka, and Suki took down the entire air fleet, and
Yeah,
only one of them was a bender.
that is
True.
crazy.
Also,
Although,
if you haven't seen Avatar, I'm sorry, but we're
oh
kind of
yes,
spoiling it.
Oh yeah,
if you haven't
spoilers.
seen Avatar by now, though, that's on you. Like it was
Yeah,
there when we were kids, and it's been out on Netflix. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And you should watch it if you haven't seen it yet, because it's great.
you
Yeah,
should.
and now you already know how it ends, so
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, all this talk about fire is making me wanna, get a nice, cool, relaxing meal. So I think
Nice. That was good.
thank
That
you.
was good.
Nice transition. But sometimes it's hard to decide. There's so many good options. You have ice cream, you have frozen custard, you have frozen yogurt. I think it's, deciding which one is better is sometimes a little difficult. So I feel like there definitely is a favorite among most people. I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one of those is your favorite? Which is your least favorite? Is there a best one?
Um, So, first of all, in case anyone doesn't know, frozen custard has egg and has the highest milk fat content. Ice cream is in the middle, and frozen yogurt has the least amount of milk fat. So that's the main difference. For me, I like frozen custard the most. Growing up with Ted Drew's in the city I live in is probably something that affected that, but it's just the most creamy, and it is the best to me. It seems just like it's the most enjoyable to eat for me. Ice cream is definitely second, and frozen yogurt is an abomination to frozen treats.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's kind of he went savage mode.
Okay.
I don't know if I have like necessarily a favorite because like I've had bad frozen custard, I've had bad ice cream, I've had bad frozen yogurt, but I've also had good frozen custard, good ice cream, good frozen yogurt. So like it just depends on the place, and like I think all of them are really good. They really taste good. I know that's very good like insight from me, and I'm being very articulate with my words right there, but they're good.
They're good. Yeah. I think for me it's all about the experience kind of as well. And for me, when I think of frozen yogurt, it always goes with the toppings that you see at any frozen yogurt place. So to me, like that's just a part of frozen yogurt. Like I just include that. And so I don't think that means I like it more than frozen custard because I think first of all, like Ted Drew's is amazing, and that they also have like mix-ins and whatever, right? But I think that the toppings for frozen yogurt definitely makes it more appealing than ice cream, just because like you can get sprinkles on ice cream, but that doesn't really like you don't really get something out of that. Or like you can put like chocolate syrup or
But
what, but like I don't get the
who's to
same
say you can't
satis.
put the top? But who's to
No,
say you can't put the toppings that you put on frozen yogurt on ice cream or frozen
Yeah.
custard?
you can, but first of all, like I don't because like it's all about the experience for me, right? And so when you go to an ice cream place, toppings cost a lot. Toppings cost extra, whereas at frozen yogurt, you just weigh it, so it doesn't really feel like you're paying for more. It just feels like you're paying
But
for
you
one.
are
But you
paying for more.
are.
But
I
that's
understand.
incredibly naive.
I understand. I'm just telling you how I experience it and why I like from my
And
personal
I'm telling
experience.
you that you should stop experiencing that way because that is just factually incorrect.
Weren't you the
Yeah.
person who like 7 episodes ago said you shouldn't tell people what their opinions should be?
What? No,
Okay.
That's
Anyways,
not even an opinion. That's
what?
like,
it's just wrong.
No,
It
it's
yeah,
can't
not
just be
wrong.
wrong.
I am telling you how I perceive my experience when buying frozen yogurt. I'm not saying it is correct. I'm telling you my experience, and my experience is that I feel like the toppings are a part of the experience of frozen yogurt. I do not feel like the toppings are a part of the ice cream experience. Most of you who are watching, when you eat ice cream, typically don't get multiple toppings. Like maybe you'll have like some sort of syrup or like sprinkles, but like most of you who get frozen yogurt typically have between like 2 and 5 toppings, right? So the toppings are definitely a part of the experience for frozen yogurt, which I think makes it more appealing than regular ice cream, just because the difference in flavor between frozen yogurt and ice cream aren't that big of a difference in terms of satisfaction for me. But I think the fact that when you eat frozen yogurt, you generally get a better variety of toppings to choose from. I feel like that for me makes frozen yogurt more appealing than ice cream.
I think that's just I don't okay. So you're basing it off of like going into like the frozen yogurt place and doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what this argument comes down to is not like going in and getting it and like eating in the restaurant. It's not talking about restaurant feel or whatever. It's talking about which one tastes better. And that negates all toppings. That negates any like experience you have within it. It's just which one do you like the taste better?
I completely agree that if you're talking about like the taste, it's frozen custard ice cream, frozen yogurt. But when you ask me, or when I ask myself, which is better, frozen yogurt, ice cream, or frozen custard, to me, you have to include things like the experience. So, I have to include the fact that you typically get only ice cream in a cone, right? You typically don't get frozen custard or frozen yogurt in a cone. And so that's like something I have to consider, right? And it's not something that for me makes it more delicious than any of the other options, but it's just like another factor that I have to consider when you ask me that, when I ask myself that question. But yeah, I agree that like from a pure point of like just pure frozen yogurt, pure like ice cream, and pure frozen custard, which one is better? It's frozen custard, ice cream, or frozen yogurt.
yeah. I mean, what I would think about when answering this is just like if it's all vanilla, no toppings or anything, I would choose frozen custard almost all the time, ice cream sometimes, and probably never frozen yogurt. If it's like all chocolate, it would be the same. If it were to be with the store experience included, I think it would become closer, and it would definitely bump frozen yogurt up. But I think that like with places like Ted Drew's or even Freddy's, they have mix-ins for when you get the custard, and then most ice cream places have some flavors that like already have stuff mixed in. So like you go to an ice cream place and they have a hot fudge brownie ice cream, and so then you don't like choose to add more toppings, but they already have some included. And so if I were to compare that, I think that the ability to decide whatever you want on the frozen yogurt is good, but I think that just like the the frozen yogurt itself is still always just going to be worse to me, which would make me rather have one of the other options.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's probably why Cold Stone Creamery is my favorite ice cream place, because each ice cream you get is not just like a boring flavor, right? It's like a cocktail of ice creams
Yeah.
and toppings and what, right? So, but yeah, I think that choice is pretty important. So obviously frozen custard is the best, like obviously.
I disagree. I think ice cream tastes the best, but
Oh,
Oh, so
Okay.
someone wants to have an opinion now. Okay, wait, explain to us why.
I just like the taste of ice cream better than frozen custard, I guess. But like again, they're all really good and it's all really close. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't say like they're I'm sure like if I chose like a different thing every 7 days, I would be happy every 7 days of the week. This is like I enjoy all three of them, but like I'd probably put ice cream a little bit ahead.
That's right. What would be second for you?
It's a tie. I don't I think it's the same. Like obviously it's not the same, but I like them the same.
You like them the same.
Yeah. But if we're talking about like the restaurant feel per se, ice cream is definitely number one. Because
Cool.
I think you get the best of both worlds of the custard and the frozen yogurt, and I just think it tastes better. So I guess I go there. And then again, the next two, same thing. It's like both they're all really good. I don't think you can go wrong with anything. It just depends.
Yeah. For those of you who have never had Grater's ice cream, that's a brand I strongly recommend. Just for all of you ice cream fanatics out there, their chocolate chips, if you get like a chocolate chip flavor, I swear to God, are like this big. Like they're like chunks of chocolate. They're not chocolate
Okay,
chips.
but why do they call them chocolate chip and not chocolate chunk?
They don't. They call it like chocolate whatever because it has like chunks of chocolate. They don't call it like chocolate chip. They call it.
So do you guys I have a question. Do you guys like chocolate ice cream?
yes.
Or chocolate
Yeah.
yogurt, frozen yogurt, or chocolate custard?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm the only one who doesn't.
You don't?
No,
How?
Like what do you like?
nothing, clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate frosting either.
Do you like vanilla ice cream with chocolate mixed in?
Uh, Depending. Like, what do you mean, like chocolate mixed in? Like chocolate
Like
chips or like
chocolate
actual
chips or
chocolate?
cookies and cream?
Or chocolate syrup.
Yeah, hot
I
fudge.
just don't like the chocolate flavored ice cream.
Okay.
Is it too sweet for you?
I don't know what it is. I just don't like the taste.
Okay.
It doesn't appeal to me.
Do you like Snickers or like Hershey's? Like
I don't eat Snickers.
do you like
I eat
Hershey's?
Hershey's. I eat chocolate on its own, but like chocolate icing, chocolate frosting, chocolate ice cream.
I don't like
That
chocolate
stuff.
cake. I like chocolate frosting. I don't like the chocolate cake.
I used to not like chocolate cake, but I started to like that a bit more.
I like chocolate cake. Yeah. I feel like if something has chocolate in it, I'm normally okay with it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's right.
So I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you, Ari, very much for joining us. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, wait, we forgot to ask at the beginning of the episode.
Ugh.
Do you think that what is it? Cereal is a soup.
Cereal with milk.
Cereal with milk is a soup.
Cereal with milk. I mean, I think it's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, it's a liquid with a solid in it. Like, how is that any different from like, I don't know, chicken noodle soup?
All right. Well, we tallied up 1 for soup. We'll see where we are at the end of the season.
Thank you, Ari. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Ari.
it.
Yeah.
All right.